God of War 2018 is heading to PC. Announced via PlayStation.blog, the critically acclaimed Sony Santa Monica PlayStation 4 action-adventure title will now be accessible to new potential players on PC starting on January 14th, 2022, and will feature all the bells, whistles, and accoutrements that one would expect from a PC port. And by January 14th of next year, God of War 2018 will be sold on Steam and the Epic Games Store, and will be just the second major PlayStation 4 exclusive that heads to PC after Guerrilla Games' Horizon Zero Dawn was ported to the platform in 2020. Good times. This is a great thing, mostly because this dramatically widens the audience of people who can play God of War 2018, a game that was once restricted by being a console exclusive, and this is a big deal in and of itself. After all, console exclusives by definition exclude players. Whether we are discussing games like the aforementioned God of War 2018 on PlayStation or Super Mario Odyssey on Nintendo, these titles are inaccessible unless you own specific hardware like the PlayStation 4 or the Nintendo Switch, hardware that is very expensive and costs hundreds of dollars. And usually if you want to play all the exclusives, regardless of whether they're on PlayStation or Nintendo, Xbox is a little different seeing as their games release day and date on PC nowadays, you have to pony up a lot of excess cash for these machines in order to play these games. It is quite restrictive, especially for anyone who is cash strapped, which in 2021 is a lot of people thanks to COVID-19 and capitalism. Money is just that tight. This is why the recent and recently announced PC ports of PlayStation console exclusives are ultimately a net positive. When Sony released a port of Horizon Zero Dawn in 2020 and recently announced a God of War 2018 port heading to PC, these were and are moves that are worth celebrating. Given how exclusives are generally tied with ball and chain to systems that cost hundreds of dollars, these ports mean that more people can finally experience these exceptional video game experiences. They mean that these titles are no longer hidden behind the restrictive cost of one singular $400 machine. More gamers can play them, and that is overall a good thing, obviously. Of course, some of the gamers TM are upset over these PC ports. When Sony announced that God of War 2018 would be heading to PC, many Sony brand loyalists and fanboys were dismayed and took to Twitter to air their grievances, mostly because they viewed the God of War 2018 PC port as something that devalues their purchasing decision. From their perspective, they invested money in a console in order to play certain exclusive games, and to them, the God of War 2018 PC port undermines their investment. It negates their original justification to buy the hardware. But these gamers are wrong though. For one thing, Sony's ports don't devalue the PlayStation brand. If anything, the opposite is true. Sony's ports increase the PlayStation's value. See, their ports of Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War 2018 have released or will release between 3 to 4 years after they originally debuted on the PlayStation 4. And those 3 to 4 years matter because during that time, those games were exclusives that boosted the PlayStation brand's appeal. Because if you wanted to play them when they came out, you would have had to have bought a PlayStation 4. But now, a few years later, the PC ports of these games are a smart move. Mostly because 1, they allow Sony to sell these games to a different gaming demographic, and 2, there are sequels to these two titles coming out within the next year in Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. And with that, the PC ports of the prior games essentially work as PlayStation advertisements, because if PC gamers want to continue the stories of both of these great games, they need to spend money on a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, because Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok are still exclusives. The ports will only increase Sony's audience here. However, this is besides the point. We are discussing the value of a billion-dollar company's brand, and honestly, I couldn't give less of a ratatouille's ass about the PlayStation's monetary value, especially when compared with the good news regarding the nature of the PC ports. See, more people having access to God of War 2018 or Horizon Zero Dawn is a good thing in and of itself. Even if these ports were a bad business decision, which they are actually good decisions, but humor me, the fact that these games are or will be available on PC is great just for the fact that more people can play these games. While there might be some optimization issues like with Horizon Zero Dawn's PC ports last year, there was some controversy regarding that, the fact that more people can play these games in the first place is a great thing in and of itself. And whether we are discussing God of War 2018 or Horizon Zero Dawn, the game's audiences are no longer restricted by the game being a PlayStation exclusive. And that is ultimately the point here. More people allowed to play great games is worthy of applause, and I hope that many people can enjoy their experiences with these terrific games on PC. See ya. And with that, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like rating, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment telling me what you think about the recent news involving God of War 2018 being ported to PC. Also, please consider checking out my Patreon page. The link is in the description. And speaking of Patreon, I just want to thank my patrons, especially my high tier ones in David, Samantha, Devlin, Mom, and Morgan. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. Love y'all.